understanding of how the Zogio YouTube channel is going to develop. So I figure we're going to have a couple different playlists and kind of like put certain videos into certain playlists. And I've come up with a title for this playlist. And so this will be the official second baby Kraken side chat. So these will be basically kind of like roaster education, I'm thinking. So just roaster education, really simple format, just sitting here by the baby Kraken and just talking about whatever is in my mind. If you all have any ideas or thoughts and you want to send them to the channel, I can follow up with stuff like that. And I'll basically just try to put together a small little video. Basically I have a timer here running just so I don't go over time. I'm gonna try and do 10 minutes of roaster education, just kind of covering some basic topics, things that I'm working on, maybe things that are just like important in the industry at this moment, whatever. Probably not all of those to start because I've kind of been like far off in the industry for a little while here now. But as I get more and more back into the industry, those things will probably be more pertinent. And then also, just to make it a little bit more fun, because I feel like I'm not putting as much fun in these videos as I could be, we're always gonna end it with a 5-minute story time. And story time will always be something about roasting or cooking. It'll be kind of like, I have a lot of wild, crazy stories that go back to when I was a chef, but then lots of them also when I've been a roaster. I've gotten so lucky in my career as coffee to just go and meet tons of people that are super fun and visit tons of fun places and just see tons of wild stuff. So I figured we could do a 10-minute, all the baby Kraken side chats will be 10 minutes of coffee education, followed up with a 5-minute story time. And I'm gonna use my timer here to try and keep on track. And I've already used up 2 minutes of our 10-minute education, so let's just jump right into it. Okay. And I apologize if I'm probably not gonna edit these. I think I'm just gonna like kind of do them free form. So feel with me. I have the roasting team here too, just so everybody knows that we're all in 100% agreement on these statements. And these are going to be my statements. This is very much like my mind. I thought about calling this kind of taking it from one of those past really fun food shows, Mind of a Chef. We could call it Mind of a Roaster. So this is kind of going to be inside that kind of context, Mind of a Roaster. Okay, so I guess I do a little catch up with you all. It's been quite a while since I've done education videos, and so just do a quick catch up. So I left Minneapolis and I basically went to Nashville, and I was roasting coffee in Nashville for 14 months. It was a great adventure. One thing about being in Nashville at Barista Parlor is they had a really nice 24 kg Diedrich. It was beautiful. It ran so well. It had been a while since I roasted on a Diedrich, but I have lots of history roasting on Diedrichs. I've roasted more on Diedrichs than any other machine, hands down. And the relationship I have with Diedrich is very, very, very strong. And this goes back to a previous machine I roasted on a Peace Coffee, where we really just had to develop a super strong relationship with Diedrich. But then going to Nashville to work at Barista Parlor, that was part of the decision, part of why I made that decision, is they had a really nice 24 kg manual Diedrich that was like beautiful and it ran spot on. And the whole 14 months I was there roasting lovely, beautiful coffees, I had zero issues with the machine. And so that kind of helped me with my decision on my machine. They also had really nice coffees. When I was looking at taking the job, they had a really nice coffee lineup. The owner and the boss, Mark, they weren't really too much about looking over my shoulder when it came to greens. They trusted me, and so they just kind of cut me loose with greens. So it was a great opportunity. It was a great opportunity for me to get back into roasting coffee as a primary roaster, but also in sourcing and developing new relationships with new importers. And so that was one of the things that was great about that trip, that adventure, is I made lots of great connections and I met lots of new importers. And so I use a whole set of new importers here at Zogio. So that's super exciting. Okay, that was kind of like a little segue from Minneapolis to Nashville, and then now I'm in Chattanooga doing Zogio. All right, cool. All right, so one of the things that, just to jump into the next topic, which we're just gonna go into profiles quick. One of the things that I did learn, or I did add into my repertoire because of Barista Parlor, was I kind of made some adjustments to my profiles. So my profiles that I use now are a little different than what I was using in Minneapolis, I'm gonna say. And I think that's just the natural evolution of any coffee roaster. As you grow, you learn more techniques and you add in some new things into your kind of bag of tricks. And so I've got a few more profiles that are a little different than in the past. And so we'll just get right into that. Basically what I've done is I just have more diversity in my profiles. So at BP, we did some really, really short development phases. Very short. Like in the past, I want to say maybe my shortest development phase that I would talk about might be like 2 minutes or a little bit under 2 minutes, I want to say. You know, low and slow, so not a lot of temperature movement, but fair amount of time. You know what I mean? At BP, I developed some pretty short profiles. Like I want to say one of my shortest dev profiles or development phases is like 1:15. So that's much more in the sample roasting kind of vein. And I think that my past focus on keeping sample roasting and production roasting separate, I think kind of took away a little bit of my mind's application into like shorter development phases. And so I've incorporated some shorter development phases into my profiles, I want to say. And so that would probably be the biggest change in my roasting style is I have some much shorter development phases. Previously, I might even have thought those development phases of just being too short, but I no longer think that. So it's kind of fun to like learn and grow. You go to a new place, a new culture in coffee a little bit, and you gain some new skills and you open up your mind to just kind of absorb some new techniques and styles. So that was fun. Also, I ended up basically becoming more okay with longer dry phases too. And so that's kind of like opposite stuff, I want to say. But yeah, so we had some longer dry phases at BP, and I've kind of incorporated some of those into my profiles. So I want to say my mid phases are pretty much the same as they've always been, but I do have some much shorter development phases and some much longer dry phases. Yeah, and that's basically the biggest difference in my profiles now than then. Okay, moving on, just to keep to time. My green focus here at Zogio is going to be pretty much the whole world of coffee. Like I've roasted quite a bit of coffee in my time from a lot of origins, not all the origins, of course, that would maybe be impossible or something, but probably not, but a lot of origins. And so I just want to keep my mind open to any origin. I've had some really great origins in the past that are definitely not super popular or like the really cool kids on the block. You know, like I really loved the old Dominican we used to get at Peace Coffee that I roasted. I loved that coffee. It was very, very unique. You know, not something that would like blow doors like a natural Ethiopian, but something that was very approachable and subtle. I also really miss, I just like lost it. Oh, Laotian coffee. We used to get some really nice Laotian coffee at Peace. I also kind of miss that coffee. So I'll pretty much bring in any coffee if it's up to the quality that I'm looking for at the space, which obviously for the final roast usage too. But I'm really going to focus on Colombians and Ethiopians. The relationships I made with the importers in Nashville kind of helped me make like a little bit of that decision and focus. But I've also come to realize that those countries just have so much going on in coffee. If you focus on those two countries with your green coffee, you're always going to have all the kind of fun cups, and you're always going to be bringing in new cups, and you're going to have a baseline of very nice, solid coffees. And so that'll be a big part of our focus here at Zogio is Colombians and naturals of all processes and all types, because they bring a lot of quality for the dollar. So that's going to be a big thing here. New origins on the horizon for Zogio 2024, which is something that I'm super excited about. You know, getting back to roasting more coffee, sourcing more coffee, having more connections at origin. I really would be excited about bringing in some PNG. I miss the PNG I used to get when I was up in Minneapolis, Papua New Guinea. And I also really miss Bolivia. Bolivia, when I was at Peace, was one of my favorite coffees. And I've really just yearned for a nice cup of Bolivia. When I was at the SCA last year, I met two great importers for both of those places. So as soon as I'm ready, as soon as Zogio can basically handle more of a lineup, we're gonna start working on developing better relationships with those two importers, and we're gonna start bringing in some really nice PNGs and some really nice Bolivians, or maybe at least one of each for this first 2024. So those are the exciting new things on the green world. And then, you know, obviously we're looking to make connections in all green coffee. So who knows what the new exciting green might be. That's always fun, you know. I remember some of the really fun ones that I would find in Minneapolis through Cafe. That was always a fun adventure. Okay, we're running out of time. So I'm just gonna basically jump. I was gonna talk about blending. We'll save that for the next fireside chat. Oh, sorry, baby Kraken side chat. Roastery care. I'm just gonna jump to that too. We're gonna go a little long, so story time is gonna be cut short. I apologize. One thing that I did with my roastery here is I kind of brought in my old French chef, kind of fine dining, some of that kind of experience and the way we kind of run a kitchen. And so mise en place is basically a French kitchen concept, or it's a bit greater concept than that, but we'll use that kind of context for this. And that means everything in its place. So everything in our roastery has a place, and we always use it, and we put it back in that place. That just makes the roastery so much happier, so much more effective, so much more organized, so much more clean, and just a better, happier workplace. So we're very much going to use mise en place in our roastery. I would strongly suggest incorporating some style of mise en place into your roastery, because that just makes everyone so much happier and so much more effective, because everybody knows where to get everything they need. Really simple. But also something about fine dining kitchens is basically every morning you start and everything is perfectly clean. So that basically the day crew has to set everything up, and then the night crew has to clean everything perfect, so the next day we start over and everything's perfect and we make it all dirty and then we clean it back all up. I've never actually been part of a roastery that did that, and to be really honest, a lot of coffee roasteries are kind of like afterthoughts. You know, they're kind of sealed up, there's not a lot of view there and not a lot of visitors, and it's kind of a dirtier, dustier place that you just don't think about being like a fun, effective, beautiful, cool workplace. I want my roastery to be like that. I want all roasteries to be like that. So let's just think a little bit more about our roastery, and let's just put in a little more work in cleaning and organizing the roastery. And to come in every morning to a perfectly clean kitchen or a perfectly clean roastery, that's pretty exciting, and it definitely spurs a little more like care about like basically the product, you know, and the whole craft of coffee roasting or whatever you're doing in your space. Okay, well that was just my little bit of education. We're looking like we're short on time, so we're just gonna jump right into story time. All right, so it looks like for story time, we're gonna do story number 21. Oh, this is a good story. Okay, we only have about 3 minutes, so I'm gonna have to make this pretty quick. So we're gonna call this the 210 drinkable profile. Okay, so this was my last Roasters Guild. And at this time in my coffee career, I was very close with, now I'm having like a brain gap. Okay, sorry. I was very close with Noah at Cafe Imports. And we were at Roasters Guild, and Mill City had the red roast rig. And so we were all out in the red roast rig doing classes and doing roast alongs and all kinds of stuff like that. And then the roasting tent was filled with all the other machines and all the really fun, cool people doing all the really cool, fun stuff. Okay, but Noah, he came out to the red roast rig just to check on us and kind of challenge me. He brought me a Yirgacheffe that he had roasted in the roast tent on the, I'm gonna probably say this wrong, the Neuhaus Neotec, Neuhaus Neotec coffee roaster that was at Roasters Guild that year. And it's an air roaster. And it's basically was kind of like a big box with a little porthole, and you watch your coffee go inside. He brought me a coffee. It was his coffee. So it was a Cafe Imports coffee. It was a washed Yirgacheffe, and he had roasted it with full development, proper like percentages in phase, 3-phase in 210. So he brought it into the red roast rig, and he was like, "Hey Derek, can you do a roast faster than this?" And it was kind of a weird thing because there was other people about, so they heard this challenge. And I mean, I've never been one to like step back from a challenge, especially a roasting challenge. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Bring me like 500 grams, and I'm gonna do it tonight. They all kind of started laughing at me and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever. But I basically did it, okay? So he had a 210 profile fully developed. So I had to beat that with proper phase time. All right, I got to get my book because I did write a little bit of my notes down. I can't find the exact roast book I put it in, but I do have a note here about that roast. Okay, so it's the fastest drinkable roast I've ever done. And I did it that night. 150 total roast time. 58 seconds to dry. 138 to crack, which I think is 40 seconds in mid, plus 12 seconds in dev to drop it at 150. It was drinkable. We saved it, Nick and I saved it, and the next day we brewed it, and it was an actual drinkable cup. And then of course I brought it to Noah and was like, "Hey Noah, here's my roast. I did it in 150. So yeah, there you go. 1 minute and 50 second fully developed wash Yirgacheffe. And just because we were in the red roast rig at night at Roasters Guild with a bunch of like young roaster kids in, I followed it up with a 28-minute Sumatra. Just to kind of play with people's minds a little bit and just show everyone that like there's so much we can do in coffee that we just don't think about. But if we apply ourselves, we can probably do it. All right, well that takes us right to time. This would be the second baby Kraken side chat. All right, hope you guys enjoy it. It's a little fun, it's a little education. We'll keep working on it, we'll keep making it better. Thanks a lot, everybody.